Okay, so by show of hands, how many people in the room have been affected by a natural disaster or know someone that has been affected? Show of hands. There we go. Okay, most people in the room. So I don't want to kill the vibe that we've created here, but I want you to recall that experience just for a moment. I want you to remember it, maybe how tragic it was, how devastating, and maybe even how traumatizing that event was for you and the other individuals. Today, I want to share with you how serious of a problem natural disasters are and provide a solution to two of them: dust storms and tornadoes. I grew up in a very small town in Missouri, and this is our middle school. It had recently been renovated. We had brand new gymnasium, new computers, brand new computer room, new classrooms, and the school day started out as every other day did. And then, in the matter of 15 seconds, all of that changed. All of the renovations they had done to our school were rendered useless in a matter of seconds. And if you thought that was bad, I'm afraid it only gets worse. There have been military bases within the United States that have been able to artificially create tornadoes and place them in natural environments. Imagine the implications of this. And in fact, I can even make it worse. Let's add something to those tornadoes. Let's add fire. Let's add chemicals. Let's add mustard gas. Let's add explosives to these tornadoes. And I see people laughing, but this is the reality of the world that we're in. These things are possible. This is not just science fiction. So what do we do about them? The first person to think about this is Nikola Tesla. We all love Nikola Tesla. He's a famous engineer. And his idea was, let's blow up the tornado. Literally. Let's literally take a missile, shoot it at the tornado, impact it with the force, and just blow it up. And that's a great answer to the problem. It really is. Except that in Midtown Atlanta, you cannot just shoot a missile and hit Atlanta. Not a viable option. His other idea, let's send an airplane into the tornado. And the answer is that would work too. There are certain fighter jets that can produce a thrust that will allow a tornado to destroy itself. However, you would be spending tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on every single aircraft that you are trying to send into those tornadoes. That's not economically feasible. And why not use a ginormously large hose? You can laugh, but this has actually been brought up. Let's take a ginormous hose, increase the water pressure so high that we hit it with a force that destroys the tornado. One, you don't want to use clean water that we're working so hard to become sustainable, using clean water to destroy a tornado. And you're not going to find any machine in existence that is going to create a water pressure that's that high. So that being said, what do? The answer is microwaves. And you're saying, you've got to be kidding. The same microwave that I use to pop my popcorn or heat up my pizza can be used to destroy a tornado. The answer is yes. How does this work? A tornado is created due to a difference in temperature. You have warm air that rises naturally. That warm air is going to hit what is a layer of clouds in the atmosphere, and then it gets pushed downward. You have cold air, which is naturally going to sink, but gets pushed up by the ground. This is going to cause a circulation effect, and then you combine that with 200-mile-per-hour winds, and you get your tornado. The key is that a tornado becomes destabilized once it gets lifted off the ground. Once that tornado is lifted up, it becomes 100% unstable, and it will dissipate upon its axis of rotation. So what you see in this video is that this tornado, although it tried to come off the ground, it tried to push itself back down, right? Things want to be stable. They don't want to be unstable. So to keep it stable, it wants to keep pushing back down to the ground. But if we use microwaves and we heat up that cold air, It's going to want to naturally lift. And once we lift it, it will become unstable. But can microwaves actually provide enough heat? We decided to run a little experiment. If you take your typical 700-watt microwave oven and turn it into a microwave gun and use waveguides to align those microwaves to penetrate at something, you can light up what is a 15-watt light bulb from up to 20 inches away. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's increase the power of the microwave that we're using. Let's say it's 70,000 watts. If we use a 70,000-watt microwave, you can hit a tornado from up to a mile away. That is the significance of this experiment. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way on earth this idea can actually work, right? If we actually put out microwave guns and started shooting them at a tornado, there's no way it would work. We have proof right here. Last summer, we went to Kansas armed with 50 different microwave guns that we had built. Tracked this tornado to its exact spot, turned on the guns right when it came, and this is the result. What you're going to see, the tornado does want to come back down. It does, because it wants to be stable. But naturally, it's going to keep getting lifted until it's gone. The answer is this idea does work. Okay, but that being said, every single time we want to try out this idea, we shouldn't have to find an actual tornado to do it, right? That's dangerous. You can't just go around to every single tornado and shoot microwaves at it and expect to do your experimentation that way. So what's the solution? Caution, do not try this at home. We are artificially creating tornadoes in an apartment. It gets better. You ready? We should be using a vortex blower. We're using a $5 Walmart fan. We should be using an IR lamp and a radiator. We're using simple heaters. And we should be using something that's legitimate to drop water. We're using a plastic Dixie cup with holes in the bottom to simulate rain. The key that I want you to understand from this slide is that if you think you need corporate funding or a team of 10 undergraduate researchers or a fancy lab to do your work, I would laugh. Because this is the environment that we're using in order to test our research. So, does this environment actually work? You're like, there's no way. This kid's crazy. The answer is yes. On the left, you're going to see what is your typical average tornado in the United States. You're usually going to get between an F2 and an F3 tornado. We are simulating upwards of F4 tornadoes in our environment. Now, think of this as a wind tunnel. I'm an aerospace engineer. We use wind tunnels in order to simulate what an aircraft would actually do whenever it's actually flying. This is the exact same idea. We're able to simulate even a stronger intensity tornado than the average tornado and get relatively good results. Okay, so all of that being said, I want to bring it back a little bit, and I want you to remember the fire tornado. How, although that was a crazy idea, things like this are actually possible. This picture is from The Day After Tomorrow, right? It's a science fiction movie, we know that. However, what if it actually happened? The city of New York City, a city with millions of people, hundreds of thousands of homes, just demolished, obliterated, in a matter of 10 minutes. It takes one terrorist to simulate 5 tornadoes in this city, and it comes crumbling to the ground in a matter of minutes. If we're able to use microwaves to get rid of tornadoes, we could save upwards of $1 billion annually, up to 4,600 homes, and save over hundreds of lives, 2 of which who could have been my aunt and uncle. Today it's tornadoes, but tomorrow it can be anything. It could be hurricanes, it could be tsunamis, it could just be the rain outside in Atlanta. We will no longer let the weather control us. but we will control the weather. Thank you.